Cheers, hey, do buckaroos, and how the heck are you? Just so you know, I'm not really in this nice little cat with the howling wind and the nice little picturesque scene out back, just setting the mood. Happy Thanksgiving, all, and sláinte. As I bear with me while I try to get this fixed. I keep trying to fix it, but it keeps reverting back, and I'm not tech savvy enough to know how to fix it permanently, I guess. Anyways, let me set this down. So I've been getting creative with cocktails lately. You know, I've always liked, especially this time of year, I really get creative with the old fashioned and the Manhattan. I do prefer the Manhattan, but the old fashioned lets me take creativity to another level, I guess, because of the simple syrups. So I've really been doing a lot with that. In the past, though, I've kind of monkeyed with the Manhattan, if you will, by taking out the sweet vermouth, and I've added a replace of I've used port, I've used cream sherry, and other things. Just kind of depends on what I have on hand. Here's one I hadn't tried until this year. I've replaced the sweet vermouth with the Disaronno. So using an Amaretto, and what inspired that idea was the fact that I was able to find toasted almond bitters. So the bitters came first, and then the idea, oh yeah, if I had the bitters. So anyway, here's what I'm using here: the Heaven Hill bottled and bond, which I opened today. Uh, I had some earlier today where I tried a little bit neat in on the rocks. So I'm going to have one cocktail with it. I'm going to put it away. It is their bottled and bond, which is 100 proof, obviously. 7-year old Heaven Hill Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So what I've got in here, let me show you this cocktail here, and I've kind of garnished with your traditional dark cherry, which I've used in this case. I've used the Collins Amarena cherry and a cinnamon stick, as you know, to accentuate the fall slash winter cocktail theme going on here. Anyways, so I do have it chilled, as you can see. Man, that's delicious. I don't know why I never thought to use that before. I don't know why it just came to me. Yeah, and I only thought of the idea, to be honest with you, because I saw the toasted almond bitters. I toasted almond, huh? So anyway, yeah. So man, that works. That makes a nice little cocktail. Kind of change the pace. Doesn't get too far out of the box. It still remains somewhat traditional, but yeah, a little spin on it. The amaretto is 28%, whereas most sweet vermouth runs hovers around 18-ish. So yeah, it does give you a little bit more alcohol. What I've done with this one is two ounces of the Heaven Hill, about 3/4 ounce of the amaretto, a few dashes of those almond bitters. Really adds to the aromatics of the cocktail. My wife and I have already had our main Thanksgiving meal. We had it a little bit earlier. It was just her and I this year, so I didn't want to do a turkey. I had some nice pork loin chops, so we did that, and that came out nicely. Did the mashed potatoes, gravy, even the dressing or stuffing, if you will. But since we're not stuffing the chops, it was dressing, right? So kept everything, Wife did make all the salads that we typically do. Like I said, it's just her and I. But she made the 5 cup, which is very traditional in my family. But our kids always love that one too. So now I'm relaxing with the first cocktail. Had the first drink of the Heaven Hill before I got dinner ready. I took a little break, got the dinner ready. I had a glass of wine with the dinner. Prairie Barn out of St. James, Missouri. Had their Norton paired with the pork. Took a little break, watched a movie, I thought it was time for cocktails. It's getting late in the evening now. Starting to get dark out there. It gets dark early these days. It gets dark, man. Fuck, it's time for bed. Anyway, anyway, I digress. Uh, Not a lot open today. We decided to stay in. Make sure we had all we needed yesterday, so we didn't have to get out for anything. Kind of wish everything was closed today so people could be home with their families, but it's not the way things are. As you know, some people have to work. I was one of those people for a very long time. I spent a lot of years in retail, and I was always working holidays. In my years as a bakery deli manager, I spent a lot of time baking pies about this time of year. Uh, yeah, pulled a 24-hour shift one year doing nothing but baking pumpkin pies. It was fun, man. Anyway, hey Rod, how you doing, buddy? Happy Thanksgiving to you. I mean, post that up there for all to see. Hope you're doing all right. If you want to share what you had for dinner or what you may be drinking at this particular point in time, please feel free to share. Kind of debated about the bottled bond. It wasn't necessarily insanely priced, but it was a little bit higher. Just with bourbon prices have gone up so much, I really think I'm going back to okay, it should be this much, but I did find it on sale, so I wanted to pull the trigger on it. Drinking a Ghost. It's funny you said that. I don't have a Ghost, but what I do have, I didn't realize I had. I've got one can. I've got one can of Goliath left. So I may have that one later. I just haven't been feeling a lot of beer lately, to be honest with you. I've been having some issues drinking beer. Digestion issues without getting too getting too much into it. Yeah, I've been having some issues, so I've been kind of cutting back a little bit. But yeah, in fact, I had one Goliath left in the fridge there. As I was looking for something else, I found that. How'd that get there? Anyway, so yeah, after having that meal, I thought, well, I'm going to have a cocktail now. Yeah, I like the Goliath, man. I really do. I don't know why it took me so long to think of this combination, but it really works. The amaretto with the whiskey really pulls that Manhattan together. I decided to add the cinnamon stick. You use the traditional cherry garnish here, but having that cinnamon sticker really adds to the aromatics. The longer that cinnamon sits in that drink, well, that cinnamon becomes part of the drink as well. So now I'm tasting those cinnamon notes, which really works with the amaretto, the toasted almond bitters, and the whiskey for that matter. Just adds another layer to that, that holiday cocktail kind of thing. I'm always, this time of year I get real creative. Some might say obsessive. I tend to get a little upset. Once I get something in my head, I've got to ride it till the wheels fall off, and then I can get on to the next thing. But yeah, my brain works that way. I have to keep going. So my latest obsession, along with the cocktails, a component of all of the cocktails, the bitters. I've been really obsessed with the bitters, and part of that's because it seems like every time I go to a store or a different store, I find something else. I found the toasted almond bitters, the cranberry bitters, and the cardamom bitters at a store in Kansas City, which I hadn't seen here. But then a while back, I found some plum bitters here, so I've got them, but I haven't used them much because I found those other bitters. And then last year, I bought these black walnut bitters, and I used them almost exclusively for at least 4 months until I started finding other things. I bought them originally for a maple old fashioned, which I haven't made yet this year. So I need to do that. But now that I've got all these other bitters, I'm looking at, the maple old fashioned. Does it have to have the black walnut? Well, I do love these black walnut bitters because they're They're very aromatic. Some might say a little pungent. But yeah, I was wondering how the toasted almond would work with that. Also, I've got some cardamom bitters. I think the cardamom, the additional spice note would work great with the maple as well. So I'm thinking about trying that to change up the cocktail just a little bit. Oh, mercy. Man, that's delicious. I haven't had amaretto for a very long time, to be honest with you. I kind of forgot what it tasted like, but I just had that idea that I had to see how this particular cocktail worked. How it would blend. Not taking out the sweet vermouth, and by golly, I think it works great. Not sure what to call it. I'll come up with something. So we'll make something up. I guess it's not a true Manhattan because we've taken out but it is a Manhattan-inspired cocktail, let's just say. I do like having that cinnamon stick in there, though. I wasn't thinking about that at the time, but I should have been. That would gradually add flavor and aroma to the cocktail. Now I'm really tasting those cinnamon notes. That kind of changes everything up a little bit. Ugh. So I allowed myself one new pour yesterday. I would say for prep, but because simply I do all the prep, but we didn't really do much. We kept it simple, so I didn't have a lot of prep yesterday. But I did allow myself to have one pour, 1 2 ounce neat pour of this Yellowstone American single malt whiskey. We're talking about obsession. It's kind of become my new whiskey obsession. Is I have to buy. I'm trying to find as much American single malt whiskey as I can. Because I really have been enjoying these. I love that 100% malted barley. But what I really like is the different distillers' interpretation of the same style. I mean, I've got right here on the table with me. I've got uh, from Restless Spirits or Gully Town single malt. I've got the Rivalist from Union Horse and the Yellowstone. And all three are so vastly different, you wouldn't think it was the same style, but they're all single malt, 100% barley American single malt whiskeys. So they're just delicious. But I love how every distiller has a different interpretation of what that ought to be. So I keep buying anytime I see. So, oh, they've got one out. So that's how I ended up with this one. The Yellowstone is that I hadn't seen their American single malt, and I found it at a liquor store in the Kansas City area, which is why I picked it up because I've been buying mostly small distiller versions of the Restless Spirits, the Union Horse. I've also got one from Switchgrass. I haven't opened yet, so I'm kind of dying to try that one. Uh, And that is a nice cocktail. And I've got to try it old fashioned next, but I'm trying to decide which direction I want to go. I've got some hibiscus simple syrup, and I've also got some ginger hibiscus simple syrup that I need to use up. But I'm trying to think which direction I want to go with that particular cocktail. And I was talking about the different bitters, and I've got the mentioned the plum, but I don't think I mentioned the cranberry here, which again seemed very holiday. It's another one that I picked up in Kansas City. So need to do a cranberry bitter cocktail for Thanksgiving. So anyway, oh man, that was nice. Anyway, I lost myself for a second. I'll find myself. Anyway, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist. Prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy, Sludge. Thanks for tuning in.